Hello and welcome to Tranquility Through Life's Natural Beauty. And today's live, because it's Friday the 13th, I thought, why don't I put some facts together about Friday the 13th for you? And there's a really cool way you can figure out when the next Friday the 13th is and predict it for many years ahead. So this would be a cool party trick, would it not, for over Christmas, if you have to provide family entertainment. And people often say, oh, what's your party piece or a skill or some fun thing you can show? Well, remember this, and you can fool people by saying you can predict every Friday the 13th for many years in advance. So we're coming to that. So I've jotted down a few facts, so I remember to do them all for you. And this is some things about Friday the 13th. And then we're going to have a film, a very short film, to accompany Friday the 13th. So let's begin. Friday the 13th, facts. Jesus was crucified on a Friday and there were 13 guests at the Last Supper. In 1309, Friday the 13th, the French king gave orders to arrest hundreds of Knights Templar in France. So these are all things associated as to possibilities of why Friday the 13th for many became a bad date. And the word frigatrice, caderica probia, that is the word for Friday the 13th if you have a phobia of it. And this is from Frigg, who is the Norse god of wisdom. That's where that comes from. And there's also another word you can use if you have a phobia against Friday the 13th, which I'll get to. But Frigg was whom Friday was named. So that's where it comes from. And triskedica is the old word for 13 and phobia meaning fear. So that's where that first word comes from. The second word, as I say, is a Greek word, and that's paraskevi dikatria, which is the phobia of Friday the 13th. And that comes from the Greek words of Friday, paraskevi, and decatria is 13, decatria. So Friday the 13th. So that's where that comes from. On Friday the 13th, businesses see a real downturn on these dates, especially for flights, people booking flights. Although there has never been any surge of accidents, particularly flights, been recorded on any Friday the 13th. But is that because there's less running? Because no one's booking them? So if they don't exist, then there can't be accidents. That's one to consider. Many hotels and buildings skip having a 13th numbered floor, and a lot of countries don't have anything with the number 13, such as if you're going to some Chinese supermarkets, for example, they do not have an aisle number 13. It's also why dinner parties invite guests as pairs, because they don't want cancellations ending up with an odd number and therefore 13. But in Italy, 13 is a lucky number. All years will have at least one Friday the 13th, but there can never be more than 3 in any calendar year. And we're talking about Friday the 13th for those of you joining. The longest you can go without seeing a Friday the 13th is 14 months. So there won't be anything longer than 14 months without a Friday the 13th. For a month to have a Friday the 13th, the month must begin on a Sunday. 2024 had two, one in September and this one now in December. Whenever a common year begins on a Thursday, the months of February, March and November will have a Friday the 13th. This will happen 11 times in the 21st century. The February, March, November pattern repeats in a 28-year cycle. So that's one in February, March, November. So every 28 years that cycle occurs. In the 21st century, the period began in 2009. In 2015, 6 years later, Friday the 13th occurred in February, March, November. This won't happen for 11 more years until 2026. Then it won't happen again for 11 years until 2037, when you will again see the February, March and November trilogy. This pattern will repeat itself starting 2043, 6 years after 2037. 3 Friday the 13th can occur in a leap year as well. If January the 1st of a leap year falls on a Sunday, then the months of January, April and July will each have a Friday the 13th. In the 20th century, this happened in 1928, 1956 and 1984, and will happen also in 2012, 2040, 2068 and 2096. Yes, it's the 28-year cycle again. Alfred Hitchcock was born on Friday the 13th in August 1899. So Friday the 13th of August would have been his 100th birthday. And one more thing before we get to the footage of the Friday the 13th video, short clip I have for you. Another thing you may know is the 13 colonies. So something else linking 13. The American provinces that revolted against the British rule and declared independence in 1776. From north to south, they were New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina and Georgia. 14 states actually declared independence because Vermont separated from New York at the same time. So there's something for you if you didn't know that. I'm sure if you're American, you're very up on your American history. So let me know in the comments below if you knew that or not. Let's pop over to Quote Corner for Friday. We'll have a look at the new Quote Corner there. Believe and achieve. That is something sure. Let's do this. So, question of the day: what do you feel about Friday the 13th? Is it just another day, or is it something you're skeptical of? Let me know in the comments. And also, do you have any other superstitions or something that you have to do, like you must put on your right shoe before your left shoe, or anything like that? If you have any quirks like that, let me know where you feel they came from. Quite often they come from our family, maybe our grandmas, our great grandmas. It's something they did, such as you must have fish on Fridays. That's still a big thing. A lot of people have fish on Friday for religious reasons. Is there anything that you do like that, or any other quirks? As I say, let me know in the comments. And if you have anything like that, tell me if you know where that came from in your mind. Was it a religious thing, or was it just something your relatives did and you just do it? You just naturally do it. Do I have anything like that? As I say, growing up, there was fish on Friday. I always thought as a child that was just an easy thing to get. Takeaway fish and chips on a Friday. It's the start of the weekend, and that's what I just thought. It was like in those days in England, that was the only type of takeaway. There wasn't all these McDonald's and anything like that. So I just thought you went round to the shops and got fish and chips on a Friday for an easy Friday night for my parents. And I did go to stage school, and when I was younger we had classes till quite late on a Friday, so I just assumed that was just an easy thing to do. So as I say, let me know in the comments. And now let's do, for those of you who feel spooky for Friday the 13th, here is some footage to share with you on that. So that's a little bit of fun there for sure. That's a little bit of fun there. I did use that for Halloween in the past. And if you're spooky for Friday the 13th, you're probably a great fan of Halloween as well, which is another thing we don't have in Cyprus. So I hope you enjoyed that. It's just a short one today. And next Friday, I'm going to have as I won't be around, instead of my live next Friday, I'm going to be putting up a premiere for you. And I was thinking what to show for you, something you might not normally see on this channel. I'm going to put a premiere up of a random Monday, just following me for the day. And I filmed at the start of every single hour of a random Monday, just to show you a day in my life. So when you click on here next Friday, there won't be a live. Go over to videos on my channel and you'll see a premiere. As I say, I won't be here, so I won't be in the, I think a chat pops up in the premiere, so I won't be on there. But I don't like to leave you without anything on my time I've committed to being here for you. So as I say, next Friday, instead of the live, I will put up at the same time, but obviously it doesn't matter if you watch a different time. There will be a premiere and it's following me what I do every hour of the day on a random Monday. So you'll see a little bit more about me. So hopefully you will enjoy that as well, something a little bit different for you instead of the live next week. And then I'll be back as normal. I am going all the way through Christmas. You will see me all the way through Christmas. And following that, the next week will be on this channel the start of my Christmas live streams, all Christmassy, and this is the intro to that. So look out for those thumbnails instead of the normal live thumbnails all the way through Christmas. And as I say, Christmas themed. So thank you for watching today. Don't forget to drop your comments below to tell me answers to what I've asked you in today's live. And I will see you soon. Until then, have a happy, productive day.